Here we are. Hello and welcome to another webinar hosted by the Business Barn with the fabulous Tara Best. This webinar is proving to be very, very popular with 251 people registered, which is an amazing, amazing number. And Tara, it obviously shows that people need your advice.
I know, it's amazing.
Oh, fantastic. So yeah, as our business and marketing expert, please go ahead.
Thank you. Well, yeah, super excited to be here. And honestly, it goes to show, I think, the exciting things that are happening in the world of farm diversification at the moment to have so many people registered. So I'm Tara Best. I'm the founder and director of Tara Punter Coaching. That's my maiden name, and Bennetts Farm Shop. I live on farm in the Cotswolds with my horse and my dog and about 100 odd beef cattle, so very busy, got lots of things going on, and I'm really, really passionate about helping your farm diversification project be seen by people on social media, online, without you having to pay a load of money for ads and boosting posts and all of those things. So my intention for today is to actually really, really help demystify some of the things, to give you some pointers so that you can really start to grow your social media accounts. We are going to be looking at Facebook and Instagram purely because I think they're such a great starting place. I'll be showing the exact strategies that I use for my coaching business and for our farm shop. So I do all of the social media for both of them. And we're just going to go through some of the things to consider so that you can really start building your brand awareness, hopefully getting more customers through the door, and hopefully give you some more ideas as well. I think I can see the chat, but if anyone would love to just share in the chat where you're at with your social media right now and what you would love to get out today, then I can just make sure that I'm keeping on track and can hopefully support you in the best possible way of the next hour together. So a little bit of background on me. I did an equine and agricultural business degree at the Royal Ag College, graduated in 2013. Oh my gosh, how was that 10 years ago? That's crazy. Graduated in 2013. Didn't know what I wanted to be, kind of quote unquote, when I grew up. I wanted to be an equine nutritionist, but had only studied equine nutrition in 1 year, and apparently that wasn't good enough. Wanted to be a sales agent, had no sales experience, so found myself managing a pub. There was a job, I needed to earn money. I thought, perfect. I had never poured a pint in my life. I am very social and would much rather be the fun side of the bar, but there I was. I found myself graduated and managing a pub. It was whilst managing that pub that they said, well, as the manager, you need to do all the social media and marketing. And I was like, okay, we'll give it a go, see what we can do, see, what I can try and generate, and very much learn everything kind of on the job. I remember we had a head chef at the time, and he said, well, yeah, we've just got this Trackleman's chutney in, so if you tag them, they'll share it. And I was like, brilliant, I can do that. I can take a picture of a chutney. The picture didn't look great, but I put it out on Twitter and really started to get this feeling and understanding for the connection between the followers and seeing the content online, and then hearing people say, we saw that great picture, not of my Trackleman's chutney, let me say, but we saw that great thing that you were running, or we saw that gorgeous picture of the roast beef that you put on, so that's why we came. And I really started to see this correlation between what I was putting out on social media and actually hearing that people would see it, call to book a table, and then come in. So I had that job until about 2015. Well, I had two jobs in hospitality from 2013 to 2015. And at one point they were sort of trying to change my contract, and I was really, really quite unhappy at work. I wanted to be able to help people. I wanted more freedom. I didn't want to be working from 9 a.m. to 3 a.m. the following morning in the hospitality sector. I wanted to be the fun side of the bar, having a nice time and not being so unhappy. So I actually met a gentleman, and he was just setting up an equestrian lifestyle website. This was sort of early to mid 2015. And I sort of said to him, oh, really nice to meet you. What is it that you're doing? And he shared with me that he was setting up this equestrian lifestyle website. And I, very, very kind of tongue-in-cheek, kind of joking, said, well, if ever you need anyone to write a blog, just let me know. I could write a blog for you. I've been horsey my whole life. I'm really passionate about horses and ex-race horses and all these things. Long story short, I wrote a blog for him on retraining racehorses, and literally a handful of days later, I was unemployed, I didn't have any savings, and I was suddenly out in the big wide world. And he asked me if I wanted to be a journalist and go to Hickstead down in West Sussex, which is one of the world's leading equestrian events. And I was like, yes, sure. Kept saying yes, figuring it out later. And it was around this time that I was really recognizing the importance and power of social media. And I remember being down at Hickstead when I was being a journalist there in June 2015, and I kept sending him all these little snippets saying, oh, this show jumper's just had a fence down. Oh, this one's just done an amazing clear round. Put it on Twitter, tag Hickstead, use the hashtag. And he was so busy doing his own thing, he wasn't doing any of this. And I was like, look, you need to sort your social media out. And he said, do you want to do it? And I said, yes. Knowing I'll just say yes and figure it out later. So that was June 2015. And from there, I then started doing quite a lot of social media management. I put myself through courses and programs so that I could continue to invest in myself and be able to support my clients in the best possible way. And I did a lot of journalism, a lot of PR, a lot of marketing, a lot of social media content creation for a number of years before it was 2017, and I shared one of the results that one of my clients had. So I shared that on, I think it was Twitter, and I had this inquiry from a gentleman who had a dog treat and dog chew company. He said, wow, that's an amazing result. How did you get your client that? Could you teach me? It's like, yeah, of course. I mean, there's a theme here, isn't there? Say yes, figure it out later. It's been the story of my life. And I said, yeah, of course I can help you. So I drove to his house. It was about an hour to Bristol. And I drove to his house and we did this social media training session. We had his Facebook open on his laptop and I was showing him how to use it and I was helping him create content. And I absolutely loved it. So that was when my love of coaching really, really began. So around 2017. And since then, I've helped so many people, particularly with their marketing, but more recently with their mindset and business growth, business strategy, and those sorts of things. So what I want to go through today, that's a very long-winded way of saying we're going to talk about marketing today. What I want to do today is really, really help you, hopefully just see some areas where you can start to improve on your marketing so that you can start to hopefully generate some footfall if you're already open. But if you haven't yet opened your farm diversification project, then hopefully we're going to give you some ideas as well so that you can get started. Now, I think this is really great timing. I like telling stories, I'll warn you now. March 2022, so coming up to a year ago, we opened our farm shop on our farm. It's a self-service farm shop, so we use amazing high-tech vending machines from a company called Vending by JSR. And they're like the locker style. I don't know if you've seen those Amazon lockers. I've never seen these Amazon lockers. They just don't seem to be around here, to be honest. But they're like the big Amazon lockers where you walk up and then you put in a code or scan something on your phone and then the locker doors open. So our farm shop is run with vending machines that work like that. Knowing that we were opening on the 26th of March 2022, I actually launched our social media accounts for the farm shop last January. So we've had our social media accounts for just over a year now. We launched them, I think it was something like the 6th of January. And throughout that time, we've kind of used them in a number of different ways. So when I originally set up those accounts in January last year, it was kind of letting people know a little bit about our story. So my husband and I, about our story, our background. His thing is grass-fed beef. My thing is like marketing, the business development side. We were just trying to get people really, really excited. So we actually hosted an open day, which I went into much detail on the last webinar that we did in December. So the social media for those first couple of months was just letting people know about us, letting people know about our brand ethos, letting people know what to expect, introducing them to our beef products, introducing them to some of the amazing stockists and producers that we work with in sort of Gloucestershire and the surrounding counties. And then as we got into March, that was all big countdown to the open day. And posting really, really, really regularly to just really keep that message there. Since we have opened, we've used the social media in a number of different ways. So every Friday or Saturday, I do a little post about what produce we have in stock this weekend, and that seems to work really well. And we'll kind of go into that in a little bit more detail shortly. When we opened our Christmas pre-orders, and literally just ran that off of social media. We didn't pay for any ads, we didn't do any flyering, we didn't pay to be in any magazines. We purely used social media to promote and secure Christmas pre-orders, and that worked amazingly well. And then similarly, when we've got new products, when we've got new flavors at the milkshake bar, new syrup flavors, when we've won an award, when we've been nominated for things, when we've collaborated with certain people, it really enables us to continue to share that message in front of our audience. Now, since we launched, I should have checked the actual stats, since we launched the Facebook and the Instagram for Bennetts Farm Shop last January, we are at, I want to say, 1,300 Instagram followers and probably about the same on Facebook. And we're going to talk about how I use both of those in a slightly different way. While there might be very, very, very similar content that goes on each, there are a couple of teeny tiny things that I do that can really enable people to kind of really see and really maximize the content that we're putting out there. And that's worked really, really well as well. What I will say is this: the social media game can be one of the best, cheapest and easiest ways for you to connect with your potential customers. It doesn't cost anything, and it doesn't have to cost anything. If you go down the route of paying somebody to do it, obviously there will be that cost, but I really want to make it so that you can implement this as part of your day-to-day so that you don't have to be paying somebody else to market this for you. I also truly believe this: when you are on the site regularly, so we live on site here, you have such an amazing abundance of content at your fingertips. So much content. Even this morning, it was just the most beautiful sunrise. Or was it yesterday? Most beautiful sunrise, and I just took a picture of the car park and put it on social media. It was like, isn't this beautiful? So when you are there, when you are part of this diversification, you have got such an abundance of potential content to create. So I really want to help you work out how you can really bring this into your life. So before we dive into all of the content and bio and all of these sorts of things, I want to talk about the differences between Facebook and Instagram. So I will create pretty much the same content on both my coaching business and for the farm shop that I do for Facebook and for Instagram. There are some teeny tiny tweaks that will make content work on one, but it won't work on the other. The first one is a link. So on Facebook, you can create a post and you can insert a URL. So let's say on Facebook, I was creating a post saying, over on the blog this week, I'm talking about the benefits of grass-fed beef. I can go onto our website and copy that URL and put it in a Facebook post. I can press publish, and the people that see that on Facebook will see that link and be able to click on it. That doesn't work on Instagram. So on Instagram, when you create a post, you select your image, you write your text. If you paste a link in the Instagram post, it will not work. It's not clickable. So a teeny tiny edit that you can make is if you're using URLs to direct people from a social media account to your booking form, to your website, to anywhere else that you might want to direct people, you can insert that link on Facebook. On Instagram, the little go-to phrase that you may have seen is the link is in the bio. Okay? What that means is that when somebody is looking at your Instagram profile, they can see your website link at the top, they click on that. That is the link in bio. If you put a link in the actual post itself, it's not clickable. Nobody can click on it, and Instagram will actually penalize you for clicking on that. So that's the first thing to consider. Second thing is around hashtags. So hashtags do not work on Facebook. Facebook will actually penalize you. So it will reduce the reach of your posts if you use hashtags on Facebook. However, on Instagram, they are an amazing way to grow. So again, if you're putting the same content on both of your platforms, just make sure but you haven't got the link in the Instagram, but you have got the hashtags in the Instagram post. And you want to think of the sort of set of hashtags that your ideal clients or your local community are going to be using. So for us with the farm shop, we've got things like the grass-fed beef, we've got a milk vending machine in the farm shop, we've got things like visit Tetbury's, so we're sort of looking at local areas that we can utilise, and then we've got some generic farming hashtags as well. You want to create a set of hashtags that's maybe sort of 10 to 20 hashtags, and you can use the same set every single time. So if you go back through all of our posts on the farm shop account, every single set of hashtags is exactly the same. So start thinking about the sort of hashtags that your ideal clients might be using, and just start to see how you can use that, because that is a really, really great way to extend your reach of your posts. And then the other thing to really, really utilize is what's called the pinned post. So on Facebook, you can have a pinned post. On Instagram, you can have 3 pinned posts. So what this means is that when you go onto that page, so if you go onto the Bennetts Farm Shop Facebook page, or if you go onto the Bennetts Farm Shop Instagram account, on the Instagram, there's 3 pictures that are pinned to the top of the grid. So no matter how many times I keep posting, those 3 stay at the top. So what you want to consider with these is, what do people need to know when they land on your social media account? If they've never heard of you, if you were to send me your Instagram account and I was to have a look, what are the things that I need to know about you, believe about you, see about you to think, yes, I want to follow, or yes, I'm interested in coming to stay in your log cabins, or yes, I'm interested in coming to your farm shop. So really have a little think about what those 3 things might be, so that you can pin those to the top of your Instagram account. For your Facebook, you can actually condense all of those things into one post. So I don't even know, I should have checked this before, shouldn't I? I don't even know what our pinned post is on the farm shop. I think it's how to use our vending machines. But when we opened, I created a post that basically introduced my husband and I. I introduced a little bit about our grass-fed beef. I introduced a little bit about the shop, how it works, and the ethos of our brand, which is really supporting small independent producers who rear their produce in a sustainable, quality manner. So I'm thinking, like, what are the things that make us special? What are the things that if somebody landed on our Facebook page for the first time, having never been here, never heard anything about us, they just stumble upon it, what do people need to see about us to kind of make that decision as to whether they want to follow or not? So really have a little think about what that would look like for your business. So you can condense it into one Facebook post with a nice picture, and then that can be 3 posts for your Instagram. So those are the main differences between your Facebook and your Instagram. Your Facebook, you can use links, no hashtags, and make use of that pinned post. Your Instagram, no links in the posts. Tell people to go to your link in your bio and make sure that that is your website address. Hashtags, yes please, on Instagram, and don't forget about your 3 pinned posts.
I don't want to tell you, sorry to interrupt, Tara, I don't want to tell you how long it took me to realise what link in bio meant.
Everyone says this.
For months and months I thought, oh, okay, right, well, there we are, I'm just not one of the cool kids, I have no idea what that means. And then, of all of the people to follow, Nigella Lawson puts up an explanation on every one of her posts. If you have a look, she says link in bio, and then in brackets, for those of you who don't understand, go to the link in my profile. And it was a light bulb moment. It was fun. It was just, oh, okay.
I've done that so many times. Maybe I should have said, okay, this is what link in bio means. But you just assume people know. And I hear it so many times. People say, I actually don't know what that means. What is a link in bio?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was just one of those moments where you just think, oh, yeah. And as soon as you know, you wonder how you didn't know. But yeah, it was.
There we go. Link in bio is the link in your profile. So if you go on to, I'm just going to open my Instagram. So when you go on to profile.
Sorry, I was just going to say, while you're opening that, I was going to apologise for looking slightly like I'm not concentrating. There's a couple of people been having difficulties entering the webinar, so I've just been emailing them back. So if I look a bit cross-eyed, that's my concentrating face. I do apologise.
Okay, we'll let you off. So for the link in bio, if you go to my coaching profile, this is what you see. So that's my profile. The link in bio is this website link just here. So that is the link in bio that people are talking about. So if you're wanting to direct people to your website, because you've got information about your products on your website, or you've got a blog that's something that you're talking about, you can just share that and say link in bio. And most people, some people know, or just say link is in my profile, and people will then know to go over to the profile.
Can you have just one link in there, Tara?
They've changed it a little bit recently, so you can add a couple now, but the way that I do it, and this works really well for a number of reasons, is I have a page in the back end of my website, on my coaching website, Tara Punter Coaching, that is called links. So the URL in my Instagram says tarapuntercoaching.co.uk/links, and people click on that and then they're on a page on my website that has got information about coaching or retreats, or the link to my podcast, or an application form if somebody was interested in working together. So that way I get people to land on my website, and then I can tell them where to go. So I know that I always talk about my podcast, I talk about coaching, I talk about my retreats. So I know that I've got these set things on there that I talk about quite regularly, and then you benefit from getting the website traffic there as well. So that's the way that I would sort of recommend if you've got sort of 3 or 4, maybe 5 things that you want to take people to.
That's a really good idea, and it means then that you haven't got to pay for an app such as Linktree or something, which then, you know, it does the job, don't get me wrong, but it's extra money out all of the time, isn't it?
Yeah, and then you don't benefit from the website traffic. So I'd much rather people land on my website, even if they then go somewhere else to another page on my website, because it keeps them on my website, so I get the website traffic. So that's what I would suggest for that one.
Brilliant, that's a great idea.
Thank you. So we mentioned with those pinned posts, we were thinking about what do people need to know, what do they need to understand about us to trust us, because that's what social media is all about. It's about building trust between you and what you have to offer and your potential clients and your customers. So when we think about the bio, so this is your like couple of sentences of about me, about us, about the farm shop, the diversification project. What do people need to see? What do they need to know about you in order to firstly want to follow, secondly maybe even inquire, or thirdly to recommend you to somebody? So start thinking about what makes you and your place special. This isn't what makes you different. I hate the question, what makes you different online? Like, no, I hate that question. What makes you special? What makes your farm diversification special? And it might just be that it's you at the heart of it. It might just be that it's you and your husband at the heart of it, and you just got a beautiful story or a beautiful view, or it's something you've wanted to do for so long. Like, just think about what makes you and your farm diversification project special, because that's something really nice. I think that's such a nice thing to include in your story, in your bio, on your website. So really start thinking, what do people need to see? What do they need to know about you in order to follow and at some point hopefully buy or recommend you? Now, we've touched on it a little bit, but I think it's really, really, really important, and that is the story. The story of how you got to where you are today. I love storytelling. I don't know if you could tell, I love it. Because it isn't just a coincidence that you are here with this farm diversification project, whether you've launched it yet or not. It's been something that you've probably been wanting to do for a very long time. You've probably put an awful lot of work and effort and energy and time and money and research and resources, and the list is endless. So why this? Why did you want to do this? Why did you want to diversify in this way? So I love really helping people craft their story and their message. You know, really dig deep into this. It's not just, oh, well, I thought we would just put a livery yard on. Why? Why livery yard? Why horses? Is it that you've always been horsey and maybe you haven't had your own horse for a while and you wanted to see horses around the farm again? Why a camping sign? Is it that when you were younger, you used to go camping with your grandparents and you loved it and you just thought it was the best thing ever? If a farm shop, why? So the kind of backstory of why we do it the way that we do it. My husband has been growing his Aberdeen Angus herd for 8 years, I think it is now. I think this is the 8th year. Been on a premium Marks and Spencer's contract for years and years and years. Grows an amazing quality product, all completely grass-fed. And he's always had this dream of selling direct to the consumer. And we kind of thought, well, with my kind of marketing experience and knowledge and his amazing kind of experience of producing really top quality food, we thought, well, we want to be able to offer this quality grass-fed beef in a way that fits in with our rather, I'm going to say chaotic life, rather busy lives, because neither of us have time to be driving off around the country delivering boxes of beef. Neither of us have time to sit in a shop, nor do we want to be quite honest. So we knew that we had to find a way to offer really quality beef that we produce, but also some really nice local products. So the majority of our products come from Gloucestershire and the surrounding counties. We've got some from Somerset, some from Wiltshire. I don't think we go much further. Maybe Herefordshire, that's about it. Honestly, it's all so local. And we knew that we had to find a system that would work for us. Now, we went and saw so many little shops, little quirky shops, little independent shops, farm shops, self-service shops, and we kind of saw things that we really liked, and we saw things that actually might work for somebody else but wasn't the way that we wanted to do something. So that's why we decided that we wanted to use a really easy kind of convenient way, and that's when we saw our vending machines at the Farm Business Innovation Show back in 2019. I had a stand there with the marketing. I'm pretty sure it was 2019. But then just knew that we had to then find the farm. We didn't even have a farm at this point. We knew the vending machines we were going to get. We knew the farm we wanted. We didn't have our own farm. So we kind of had like all of these thoughts going on in the background. It's just been a labour of love for so long. And then secured this farm, which is Gloucestershire County Council farm, in summer of 2020. Moved in, and second we moved in, we had those planning applications in. We were planning and designing, launching. So that's kind of a bit of the story. You know, we've been doing this for a long time. Our skills and expertise work so well together, but we knew it had to fit in with our lives. So that's not the most groundbreaking story in the world. It's probably not entirely unique, but it's our story. And actually people like that story because it makes it real, it makes us relevant, it proves that we've kind of been wanting to do this for so long. So really start thinking about what your story is. Like, how did you get to this point you're at today? What was it that made you want to keep doing this? Why do you do it in the way that you do it? So I think that's a really nice thing to consider from a content perspective. What is your story? The next thing to consider is actually your journey. So I think whether you have set up or not, I think that there is still a place to be sharing your journey. And this ties in, I think, quite nicely with your story. But it's really looking at all of the little moments of life that have got you to this point. So Si and I both studied at the Ag College. We didn't meet there, we met through mutual friends. But we both kind of had this desire to kind of be and do and have a bit more within the ag industry. So our journey has actually spanned quite a long time, and it's kind of all of the little things that we've done along the way, work experience we did whilst there, the sessions that we did whilst at the Ag College, like so many things have really got us to this point. So we can then start sharing that a little bit more when we're thinking about creating content. You know, it's not just about the open day and since then we've, you know, had lots of sales, but it's all the little things that kind of lead to this moment. I'd also consider things like the behind the scenes. So people are very nosy. The FOMO thing, the fear of missing out, is real. People love the behind the scenes, like absolutely love it on social media. So if you haven't yet opened your farm diversification project, think about how you can share some of the behind the scenes of the work that you're doing in the background. If you have opened, you can always go back and say, we've never actually properly shared our story. Here's the transformation. So I did that at the end of last year for our farm shop. We have renovated so much, gutted so much. We've put in whole new farm entrances, whole new fencing, gravel, walling, everything around the farm shop and around the car park. And I've shared that through a series of posts. And honestly, it's the posts that seem to do the best in terms of people sending messages and saying, I didn't know it looked like that before. And it's just to show the journey and the evolution of what we've done. People are so interested in it. So think about sharing some of those things. And the reason for that is that it's going to keep building the know, like, and trust aspect. The know, like, and trust is one of the biggest things for your social media. And again, when social media is free, this is a really great way to be building better relationships with your potential customers and really starting to get your brand out there even more so you can continually build that brand awareness. So with each piece of content, think about how you can get people to know, like, and trust you and your brand. So know, like, and trust. So that's where your story, your journey, the transformation, your progress, the behind the scenes, all of this is really going to help this. Also then think about kind of like the how and the why you do the things that you do. So if you rear animals in a certain way, why? If you feed them a certain diet, why? If you decided to put your pitch one side of the farm instead of the other, why? Really paint things out for people. I remember writing a piece of content for social media, and actually I turned this into a blog for our website as well, but it's all about the benefits of grass-fed beef. So we had a question from somebody in the shop the other day who, she said, well, if it's grass-fed, why are the cows in the sheds? And we said, well, the cows graze from March to sort of October, November time, and then we bring them in, we calve over the winter, so we'll be starting calving about this week. And we want the cows to be in so that we can just make sure everything's as easy as it possibly is. She said, yeah, but they're not eating grass. And she got really quite chopsy because I was saying, you know, it's all grass-fed beef. So I explained how we make hay, haylage, and silage. And she was like, I didn't know that was grass. I thought you were just like feeding them something else. And that really made me think, like, that's such an important message. We make everything with the grass that we grow. The result is amazing quality beef. It's great for you, great for the environment, all of the things. When I said that to her and kind of explained and educated, she was like, I had no idea. You should put that on social media. I was like, yeah, I already have. I'll send you the blog link. But this is just something like, this is why we rear beef the way that we rear it. This is how we rear beef year round on a grass-fed diet. And honestly, that blog has been read so many times. You can see the amount of people that have read it in the back end of the website. Phenomenal. And the amount of people that DM'd me after doing the post on Instagram, even people that I would think are country people said, I didn't know that that's what silage was. So really think about the why you do the things that you do. What's your how and what's your why? And how can you explain that to your audience? So again, you can really not justify as such, but explain and help educate people in how and why you do the things that you do. Next thing to consider for your content, and this may or may not apply depending on kind of your location and where you're kind of at. If there's location, if there's views, if you've got a great location, if it's a real destination of a place, really start thinking about what people will see and experience when they get to you. This might be something you take for granted. I think being in the beautiful countryside, we can sometimes take it for granted. I think my husband does very occasionally. And I'm constantly telling him to look at the sunrise and sunset while he's just like head down, blinkers on, feeding the cows. But for a lot of people that make the effort to travel to you as a destination, it's one of the things that they'll see first. You know, if they're driving along the lane and you've just got beautiful views or nice big clear open sky or just like beautiful stone walls or beautiful hedges, they might not be used to that. So actually think about the things that you see on your everyday that might just be that little bit special for people. It might be something that they keep seeing it, just think, oh, I really want to go there because it just looks so beautiful. Whether you've got accommodation, whether you've got delivery yard, whether you've got farm shop, whether you've got cafe, whatever it is, the views, the kind of first impression that people get, share that on social media. I had somebody come up to the farm shop the other day who's been following us for a little while, and I always put like nice little pictures on, got some benches, beautiful view by the little wall, really quiet lane. And he said that his first visit to us was because he wanted to sit on the bench, and I just described like the bird song. There's barely ever any cars. You might hear the distant hum of a tractor in the background. But it's so quiet, like so quiet. And he said, I came because I wanted to just have that peace and quiet. I live in a town. I just wanted to have a coffee on the bench and just enjoy it. So again, it's looking at what makes your place special. So if you've got a gorgeous location, or if you've got a beautiful quiet spot that people can escape, if you've got views, if you've got hot tubs with your accommodation, really think about those little things that just, again, makes you special. Special is key. One of the questions I get asked a lot is around following, and trying to sort of increase reach, increase engagement. One thing I will say, and this is so key, is quality over quantity. Yes, 10,000 followers would be amazing, but if they're 9,000 fake accounts or random people in China that are not going to be your ideal clients or ever come into your farm shop and buy from you, it's completely irrelevant. So I really want you to focus on quality of followers. I want you to focus on engaging with quality people. I want you to focus on creating quality content. So really start thinking about the sort of people that are following you and that you are following back. So you really want them to be the sort of person that you want to come to your place. You will know when it's a fake account, so it'll have some weird name, probably won't have a profile picture, they'll have no followers, no posts, and not be following anyone, maybe apart from you and another person. Just remove any fake accounts, okay? The reason for that is when you have fake accounts following you, it reduces the engagement on your content, because Instagram will say, oh, she's got 1,000 followers, but only 3 people liked that post. If you've got a whole bunch of fake accounts, Instagram won't technically know that you've got a whole bunch of fake accounts following you. They'll just see that 3 people liked your post out of 1,000. So we want to make sure that we can just have quality, real people following us so that we can increase the engagement percentage on your posts. Without going, I mean, I could do a whole session on just engagement, to be honest. Without going into huge amounts of detail, the most important thing when it comes to engagement is actually your reach, the amount of people that see your posts. People get so hung up on likes and comments. And honestly, a couple of years ago, likes and comments were the best way to gauge the success of a post. Now it is much more about likes, much more about reach. Catching myself out here. Has anybody ever just scrolled and you like read something and you keep scrolling and you read the next post and you scroll onto the next post without actually liking and commenting? I'm sure we've all been there.
I was going to say all the time, yeah.
But Instagram knows that you've paused the scroll to read for a couple of seconds or to read the whole post and then carry on. So that's the piece of statistic that you want to really be looking at, is the amount of people that see your content. Likes and comments are irrelevant, I promise you. So the amount of people that see your content. The amount of people that see your content will be largely dependent on a huge whole host of things, including the quality of the content, including obviously the percentage of people that are following you versus those who are actually going to see the content, whether you're using hashtags or not. You know, if it's on Instagram, that will increase the reach of your content if your content is good. But also things, you know, whether it's relevant, if it's being actually pushed out in front of the right people. So what happens when you create a piece of content on social media? You'll make your post, you press publish, and Instagram will push it out in front of a couple of people. if they like and engage, or if they see it, if they stop, if they read it, Instagram will think, okay, this is good, we'll push it out to a few more people. And again, if those few more people stop, read it, yeah, okay, this is doing well, we'll push it out to a few more people. So you've got to just make sure that whatever you're creating is going to stop the scroll. If somebody's scrolling, what's the thing that's going to stop the scroll? It'll be one of two things. It'll be an amazing photo, or it'll be the first sentence of your post. When you open social media, your brain will naturally look at the first sentence of the post. If you don't like the first sentence of the post, you carry on scrolling. That's just how we work. It's how our brains function. It's how the social media app functions. So we've got to think, what is the first sentence of our post that's going to stop the scroll? What's the thing that's going to make someone click read more? Think about it. What makes you click read more? Is it the intrigue? You're like, oh, what does this mean? Is it the part of you that doesn't really want to miss out? Is the FOMO coming in again? Is it us just being nosy as humans? Like, we love to know more. We love to see the behind the scenes. What's the thing that's going to make you, as a social media user, read on? So when you're creating your content, really think about what that first sentence is. Really think about how you can make people stop the scroll and click read more so they can read the rest of your post. There is no right or wrong when it comes to things like post length, so how long the post is. I try a whole variety of different lengths when I create content. Sometimes my posts, especially on my coaching account, can be very long because I just have far too much to say. But I know that people read it to the end, and I know that people actually get value from that. One thing that is key is consistency here. So if writing short posts works for you and is something you can commit to consistently, that's amazing. That's the most important thing than trying to think that you should have longer posts. So consistency is key. What I will say about consistency is this. Consistency will look different for every single person. The more you post, the more likely your account will grow. That's just how it is. But I don't want you to say, right, I'm going to post every single day, and you manage it for a week, and then life gets busy, you get overwhelmed, you run out of things to say, and then you don't post for another month. That's not being consistent. So ask yourself what you can commit to consistently. Could you consistently post 3 times a week? 3 times. Thinking one post is helping people get to know you, one post is helping people get to like you and your brand, and then one post is helping people trust you. Like, could you consistently post 3 times a week? Because that's great. What we need to recognize is that people are so busy. There's so much going on. We're more online now than ever. Space is tight in the online space. People are really, really wanting to see what it is you have to say, but they've got so many things going on, so many notifications, so many things that they follow, so many accounts that they love, that if you're posting once a week, it's just a little bit easier for you to be forgotten. As harsh as that might sound, and I say it with love, I promise. Now, pre-COVID times, somebody needed to see you 7 times to trust you enough to buy. That number last year was more than 25 times. So somebody would need to see you 25 times to trust you enough to buy and to remember you. So if you're posting once a week, that's nearly half a year, which is quite a long time when you're wanting to increase your brand awareness and really build that brand trust. So think about how you can, sorry, I should put my phone on silent. Think about how you can consistently post on social media. And what does that look like for you? Now, do think here as well, what are kind of the marketing buzzwords of what you do? So with the farm shop, we are working to become carbon neutral. We are working to rear grass-fed beef sustainably. We are working with small independent producers who are you know, working with the land, they're creating what it is that they create in a really quality, sustainable manner. What are the buzzwords that are aligned to what it is you do? People know the buzzwords. And I know sometimes we feel like they're just buzzwords, like, do we really want to just say, this is how we're doing it? But people get the buzzwords. So what are the like little slogans, little phrases? What are the things that you can be sharing about how you do what you do and why you do it the way that you do? Comes back to your story. So really be consistent with those as well. Now, when it comes to creating content, I would say, especially with my coaching account, I don't reinvent the wheel every day. I post daily on there. I do not reinvent the wheel every single day. I know that I've got probably 5 main kind of categories, if you like, of the content that I create. So I talk about mindset, I talk about marketing, I talk about money, I talk about personal development, I talk about business. Those are like the main 5 categories that all of my content falls under. So for me, posting daily, on a Monday, I might talk about mindset. On a Tuesday, I might talk about marketing. On a Wednesday, I might talk about money. And I just alternate it like that, so that I'm not having to reinvent the wheel. I'm not having to think of like a whole brand new piece of content every single day for the year. But I know that these things are in line with the coaching that I offer and what my audience wants. And actually today's post will align to this conversation so nicely, it's like ridiculously uncanny. So the posting daily works well for me. It is a non-negotiable. Even now, if I'm at the end of my day completely exhausted, I still want to commit to posting daily because I know it works. It works for the coaching and it works for the farm shop, just to have that real consistent message and constantly be at the forefront of people's minds. When you kind of trickle that in with a mixture of the lifestyle aspect of your farm, lifestyle aspect of you, what it is you're passionate about, some little behind the scenes bits and pieces, it doesn't feel salesy every day. Because I think sometimes if you're following an account and it's just sell, 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 sell every single day, it can get a bit much. Similarly, if you were subscribed to somebody's email list and they just sold to you every single day, I think it can just be a bit much. But when you're kind of sharing things from your passion perspective, from the lifestyle of what you do, showcasing your expertise, telling your story, there's so many different ways that we can really kind of connect together and that you can stay forefront of people's minds. My screen just went funny.
I wasn't sure then if it was internet or audio.
No, my screen just flashed at me and I was like, laptop.
With a look of terror on your face. Yeah.
So I think have a big brainstorm of things, like think for the little topics that you can talk about, the little moments, the story, the testimonials. Honestly, little case studies and testimonials are so powerful. So one of the ways that I use that in both of my businesses actually is, now the other phone's going off, technology, behave. So one of the ways that I really use that within my business is if somebody sent me a message saying, oh my gosh, I loved our coaching call this morning, that was so amazing, I had such a big breakthrough and big takeaway, this is what I loved about that, I would screenshot that, crop their name out and just share that on my social media, share that on my Instagram stories. Similarly with the farm shop side, you know, if somebody said that was the best beef we've ever had, damn straight am I going to use that little piece of message. But I always crop people's name out because I just think it's kind of polite to do so. So yeah, really use that as part of your kind of strategy and as part of your content approach, because sometimes that's all people need to see to really make them think, yes, this is the one. Or it's that little thing that almost just tips them over the edge to think, right, yes, I just have to go and try that. I have to go there. You know, I've got to really, I don't know, reach out or do whatever is going to work in that situation. But yeah, don't be afraid to share those lovely messages. If you've got a guest book, make sure that's part of your kind of strategy. So I'd say for the farm shop, we share pictures of the guest book 3 times a week probably, and then similarly with my coaching, on my Instagram stories I'll share anytime I get anything really, but we'll definitely have a post per week which is like a proper testimonial or proper case study. So really start thinking about bringing all of this together, because I think when you have a whole nice mix of content, from the lovely things people say about you to your story, to here's the beautiful view, or here's the behind the scenes, or here's what to expect when you come to us, it's just giving people everything they need to, again, trust you enough to buy, but so that you can stay at the forefront of their minds. So think about how you guys use social media. Hannah, Hannah, it's because I looked at your name, Charlie. Charlie, how do you use social media?
But you know, it's really interesting to hear you talking about that. Because a couple of months ago, I sat down and thought, right, I need to be more organised with the social media for the business ban. I thought, right, I know myself, I unsubscribe all the time from emails who just, as you said earlier, they email you and it's sales, sales, sales. You just turn off. You don't want to know about people like that. But it's really interesting. People want to know a bit of the story behind you. Now, I haven't done that on the business barn yet, but I know I've got family who've got a very successful caravan park. And when we started building that, we literally had an open field, but we started the Facebook page. We weren't on Instagram at that point. And it was just, look, we like I say, it was just a blank field. We were moving. I had a baby in the seat in the tractor next to me, and it was just taking photos of, look, we're moving soil from the lake. These are the trees that we've planted, and it's that story that really gets people. It gets people in. I mean, I think they've got tens of thousands of followers now, and it's just, and most of that is just from grabbing people. And it's not the hard sale. Oh, this is the bedroom of one of the shepherd's huts. This is the kitchen of one of the shepherd's huts. It's far more than that. What's in the local area? You know, what can you do, especially if you've got camping or glamping or holiday cottages? What can people do in the area? That's a huge thing, because the first thing that I would do if I was, you know, going on holiday, right, where are we going to go? I've got no idea. Right, okay, well, what do we want to do? So immediately you're narrowing it down then, right, I want somewhere that's dog friendly by the beach. So if you're showing people that you're dog friendly, you're by the beach, you're within walking distance of this beach, you know, you've got a beautiful little path down to a stream, you've got your own field, things like that. It's not necessarily telling people this is our shepherd's hut, here's the link to book, but it's still, as you say, bringing it to the forefront. So a couple of months ago, I sat down and sort of told myself, right, business barn now, what can I do? So I did a follow a Friday, and every Friday it's just to get people who've got any sort of rural business just to tag themselves underneath, to try and increase reach, as you mentioned earlier, because, you know, commenting, liking, things like that, and also to help businesses out, because we are followed by a lot of different people, and it's just basically promotion for anybody who types underneath. What else can we offer? We've got the diversification directory, we've got the diversification ideas and advice, we've got the rural business section, you know, we've got the classifieds, we've got the events, and all of a sudden you think, my God, that's something different for every day of the week. And it's really not going to be that difficult to try and set it all up. So what I try and do is I use Hootsuite, because between the children and life and the animals and milking, I don't have time. I do have time if I was organised. However, I am not the most organised person in the world. So what works for me is I sit down for one day, maybe even once a month, if I can block off enough time. And I find that I waste the most time in Canva finding nice photos and things like that, you know, not actually writing the posts. But so I set out on my handy pad, I set out the days of the month and what I'm going to message about, you know. So and it's not just, you can't assume that everybody who follows you, they will not see every post of yours. They probably won't even see 1 in 10. So don't feel that you have to only use one piece of content once. You know, so for this webinar, we've had 3 or 4 previous posts telling people about it. We've had stories, and that's on both Instagram and social media. And that's really, I don't think anybody who's seen that message twice would go, oh God, this is just filling up my news feed. But at the same time, it's varied enough to hopefully grab a breadth of your audience to know what's going on. And I feel that works very well for me anyway, to plan out well in advance what I'm going to write about. I can find out then, or work into events or things that's going on the website, or relevant things that are happening. For example, if you've got a caravan park and you know at the end of of 1 month you've got a fish festival, you know, there could be a local food festival, there could be the local county show. All of those, you could do a couple of posts a few months in advance saying, did you know this is on this week? This is an extremely popular weekend, you know, don't forget about it. Because it's things like that which, as a local, you kind of you just know these things, whereas for somebody who's coming for a holiday, they probably wouldn't have any idea, and it's massive incentive then to book early to get in because there's something on that particular weekend. And yeah, it's very interesting if you can anything that, you know, you might be a business, you know, what do you offer, you know, what can you offer, and just there are several ways to skin a cat, and I know that sounds a bit ridiculous, but there are several ways to tell people about what you can offer without, as we said before, sounding just samey and repetitive, and here's my link to book, here's my link to book, you know, and yet you've got to, you know, yeah, I could go. I'm just repeating what you said because as you can tell from my ridiculous nodding throughout the whole webinar. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Oh yes, yes, well done, Tara.
It's so true though, and like we did that quite a bit with the farm shop as well, sort of saying, okay, it's going to be a gorgeous weekend here in the Cotswolds. Here's some things that are on this weekend in the Cotswolds. Or if somebody says, oh, I'm coming for an hour, can you recommend somewhere nearby to go for lunch? I'm like, absolutely. Here's 3 of my favourite places within 10 minutes. And Westonbirt Arboretum is literally over there. I can see it. So why not tie it in and make it a whole day? Come here for a coffee in the morning, go for a walk, go for lunch. Job. Like, what a perfect day that sounds. So it's looking at how you can kind of collaborate with other local businesses, tag them on your social media. They might share at their end. And again, it's just going to continue to build this brand awareness and increase your reach.
And it's not a bad thing to tag other businesses, you know, local companies, local businesses, local events, things like that. Don't feel that by doing that you're promoting them and they're going to move away from you. It actually encourages more traffic to your social media, especially if, as you say, they then share that post. That's sharing your post, your post to a whole new audience possibly. And as you said before, that organic growing, sometimes it does feel incredibly slow and just, oh, I need a viral post, I need a reel. You don't. You need genuine people who actually have an interest. You know, every single person who goes to your website or who likes your social media, they are, if they're genuine people and you've got 500 of those people, that's, you know, one weekend for 10 years, every weekend for one person for 10 years, you know. So don't be too disheartened if you're only getting 1 new like a week or more. You know, 1 new like could be a booking, you know, and that could be hundreds of pounds.
Yeah, celebrate it. I think that's where people go really wrong, is we're in this culture now of next day delivery. Like Amazon Prime, it's so easy. I mean, even out here in the sticks, it's easy to just buy something and it will be here tomorrow. And I think people really expect those same results when it comes to their business growth. I do a lot with mindset as well, and I think a lot of people kind of expect that with their mindset. They think, well, I've done this one little mindset exercise, so suddenly everything's going to be amazing. And people forget that consistency that's needed to continue to build. So in a world of Amazon Prime being so next day delivery, just remember that your social media growth and your business results are not next day, but we've got to have that consistency to be building the daily habits and taking that daily action for the long-term vision and kind of long-term growth of what we're doing. And I'll just follow on from what you said about kind of tagging the local people as well. Badminton Horse Trials is about 10 minutes away from us. And last year when the event was on in May, I can't remember if I used their hashtag or tagged them, and somebody had searched on Instagram Badminton horse trials and one of our posts came up. They came in afterwards and said, oh my gosh, you're only 10 minutes from Badminton, we want some coffees for the journey home, and spent about £80 on steak to drive home with, to have when they got home, because I used the hashtag or tagged a local event. So if you're near something that's going on, like when it's the Cheltenham Festival, if you're nearby, if there's a big, I don't know, if there's something happening in one of the arboretums near you, or if there's something big going on, kind of use that to kind of tag the location or jump on the bandwagon with the hashtag. Again, it's just another way to get in front of more people when it's kind of a perfect audience for you and what you do.
Would you say that posting a post with a picture on Facebook would do better than posting just text?
Yes. Yeah, always post the picture with the on Facebook. Or you've got to post a picture on Instagram as well, but yeah, always post a picture as well.
Would you say that reels are important?
They are, unfortunately. Video is the way that social media is going. I will hold my hand up and say I much prefer text. I much prefer writing, and I'm much better with a picture and actually writing a nice long caption. Reels are just going to get in front of more people. It takes a little bit of practice, I think. The way that I think reels work really, really well, especially with farm diversification projects, is like taking people on a little tour. So again, with that view, with the location, here's how the coffee machine works. I put a video on ours the other day of me making a hot chocolate, and it's been like reached by like 3,500 people. I'm like, it's the most basic video. I didn't put any text over it. I just said, oh, it's hot chocolate weather at the moment. And just suddenly it's blown up, which is amazing. That's a viral piece of content because it's reached more people than we have followers. So if you can start increasing a little bit more or introducing a little bit more video in your content, absolutely do. It is the way that social media is going. I'm not a video editor. I'm not a video person. I love doing videos. I'm just crap at the editing of them. But yeah, if you can start to trickle it in, again, just thinking about what people need to see about you, your company, your location, all of those things. It's just a great way. It's such a good way as well, I think, for people to really feel the experience. So whether it's you really showing the car park and then they drive and they're like, yes, I've seen this on Instagram. Or if you are like feeling confident enough to speak to the camera and then they see you, I think, oh yes, I've seen her on Instagram. So again, it's just those little things that gets people to know, like, and trust.
And you haven't got to be a computer expert to do them. I will hold my hand up. I'm not bad on a computer. Instagram Reels is a whole different kettle of fish, how to get the text up at the right moment. However, in instances like that, Google is your friend. Google, how do you make an Instagram reel? I'll hold my hands up. I have Googled it several times and I've paused it and I've gone back and I'm finally getting there. And it's one of those things where, yeah, it's an absolute pain in the bum to do. I really dislike doing them. And for me, I don't really have the location to show you because frankly, my computer screen isn't very exciting for people to see. We're we're online based. There's not an awful lot that I can do. However, what do? We promote diversifications. Oh my gosh, all of a sudden there's a whole, breadth of photographs that you can choose, from vineyards through to dog walking, any diversification that you can imagine. So that's what I do with my reels. Is I Google for free pictures which you can download, because that's one thing you want to be a bit careful of, is you don't just randomly download an image from Google in case it's owned by somebody. You have to have the license to any photo that you take, you're perfectly able to share on Instagram or social media, but do make sure that you've got permission to share it if you download it. Another website that I could not live without is Canva. And you can edit photos, edit videos, create videos in there. It's amazing. I'm on it nearly every day. I find it fantastic. And little things like that can make your life a lot easier. So you could make a little reel, you could edit it in Canva, you could set up your photos, you could put your logo on your photos. That's something that I've tried to do, is so that even if people are scrolling and they don't stop to read my text, they can still see the Business Barn logo on the photos. And I think, you know, you're just reinforcing that image in people's minds. Oh, business plan. Oh yeah, what do they do? Oh, diversification. Yeah. So next time when they're out and about and thinking, oh, what on diversification? Oh, business plan. You know, so say if, you know, for whatever business people have got, you know, whatever photo you've got, you could, if you've got an image or a logo, you could upload that into Canva, whack it on every photo. Canva's on the desktop, it's on you can get phone apps for it. Most of it is free, so you don't have to pay for it. And things like that just help reinforce the brand image and brand awareness, really.
Yeah, so I said, do go very careful with photos online, because I downloaded one once. It was a royalty-free website. I can't remember what it was called. And I got fined £600 for using it, because I was using it to promote my services, even though it was a royalty-free site. Yeah, and they screenshot my website when it went on there. They've all got trackers in the back end of them. And they screenshot my website, waited till that picture had been on my blog for a year, and then fined me for a year's use. So go careful, is all I will say. Honestly, if you can just get your own pictures. I'm always just taking pictures of anything and everything. Daylight today, and it's a gorgeous day, taking a picture of the lane, taking a picture of the wall, taking a picture of the hedge, just anything. So I've always got that bank of content, because I would just hate for anyone to get caught out. And I don't say that to scare you, I promise you, but as a new business, we whacked with a £600 fine that I can't get out of. I was like, oh shit.
Well, yeah, ouch.
Yeah, so I know what it's like trying to get images, but yes, please go careful.
Careful. Oh my God.
I honestly don't say it to scare you, but you download a royalty-free image. I was like, surely I can use that on a blog, but the blog was promoting my services, so apparently that's commercial, which I just didn't even know or think of at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, it does pay to be aware of it, because again, you could be completely ignorant of that, couldn't you? It's quite an important point.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, so always around snapping, getting loads of pictures, any video, little short snippets of videos. Honestly, you can always put stuff to it. And one thing I'll say as well is that you don't always have to have the right picture that matches the text. So if I'm talking about, I don't know, books that I've read, and I'm saying, here's some of my favorite books, the picture that I'm putting to that post doesn't have to be of a book or a picture of me reading a book. It can just be anything. So I think people get hung up putting the picture or the video with the caption itself, but honestly, it doesn't make any difference at all.
Yeah, that's a really good point as well, because I don't think you will ever find my photo on the Business Barn social media, because I just no. But that's not to say that I can't, you know, spread the message about me, if I was to put a post up about me with my picture, as you say. You know, it could be of the, you know, anything. Yeah, that's another really good point.
Yeah, you can always kind of link it in some way, so it doesn't have to be the exact picture.
Yes. Here's a tree.
I like trees. Here's a tree.
But this is too.
It needs to be a tree.
Here's one I planted earlier. Yeah. Oh gosh.
But have some fun with social media. Get creative. Try different things out. Get consistent. And just constantly be kind of building with that longer term vision, longer term dream that you've got, the longer term kind of vision that you have for your brand. And yeah, just keep going, keep being consistent. Even when it looks like nothing's happening, in the background it will, because you'll still have people following who don't like anything, they don't comment on anything, but they're constantly there watching, and then one day they'll be your biggest fan, the biggest fan.
So, sorry to interrupt, but something I've just thought of now, especially, well, it works incredibly well on Facebook, is to share your, if you make a post, share it to a relevant group, and that will massively increase your reach. You know, there are untold glamping groups, camping groups, farm shop groups. There's a huge amount, local groups. So for example, if you've got a farm shop, share your posts to all of your local swap shops, you know, your and surrounding areas. And it's amazing how much that will increase. That will increase your audience, because it's people who aren't following you, and all of a sudden, oh, they've seen your post from a different group that they do follow, and that will really help your reach as well.
Yeah. So at the beginning, I shared that every Friday or Saturday, I would do a post saying, I'm sure I said this, saying, here's what's in stock this weekend in the farm shop. And then I share it in all the local groups. And sometimes I'll have someone comment say, oh my gosh, I can't wait to have that shin of beef. And I'll message him saying, there's only one, when are you coming? Because it will go and I can put it to one side for you and meet you out there. We had that recently with a local chef, and he's been following us for a while. And he never likes or comments anything, not a single thing. But he's got size number, and he messaged him the other day saying, I can't get there till 2 o'clock. Will you have a shin of beef for me? Or can you put one to one side and I'll give you a ring when I get there? And we're like, yeah, of course, you know, we're around, that's fine. But he never likes or comments on anything. And he's had a couple of our joints now, and he's a chef at a very well renowned local place. And he literally says it's the best beef he's ever had, but he doesn't like and comment on anything. He'll just message the Facebook page where nobody can see his name, and he'll just ring Si and say, can I come and get a brisket? So you're always going to have those sorts of people as well. So it's important to show up for the people that aren't that vocal or aren't there liking and commenting on everything, because you never know who's watching. And actually, the post that I put on saying, here's what's in store this weekend, and I share in all the groups, we actually had a journalist who was hanging out in one of those groups ring us and say, I'd like to come and do some filming for BBC Gloucestershire. Can I come out tomorrow? I've just seen your post in a group. So it's never just about who's following you, who could be a customer. Think of the journalists, think about the people that run podcasts who are always looking for amazing stories. Like, I would see somebody's story online and be like, I want to interview that person for my podcast and share their journey and share their story. So it's always so much bigger than just putting the post on. I think, well, I wonder if I'll sell this product or get somebody to come and book on to stay in the lodge or whatever it is.
That's a brilliant point. Well, does anybody in the audience have any questions, I wonder? If you do, feel free to type them into the little chat box. You should have a grey screen next to, grey dashboard, that's the correct word. And on there's chat. So press the arrow that's pointing sideways, and that'll open up the chat then. Feel free to ask Tara, the expert, any questions.
I haven't seen any. I didn't know if I had missed any.
No, I can only see me typing as Hannah. I do apologise for that. I thought I'd cracked it for this webinar. I put my email down as a co-organizer. I thought, yeah, good. I tried signing on from 1 o'clock with the other email address, and whatever I did didn't work. So I'm back to pretending to be Hannah.
But Tara, if anyone's got any questions, feel free to just drop me a message. Tara Punter Coaching is my Instagram. And there will be a post today which is all about actually telling your story on social media, so keep an eye out for that one as well. But yeah, honestly, any questions or anything, feel free to just drop me a message. Always happy to answer any questions.
Oh, and thank you so much, Tara. An hour and a quarter, and I think probably we could have gone on for more, but we'd better leave you.
I can speak about this all day long, I promise you, all day, but everyone's busy.
Yeah, school run down nearly, but no, Tara, it's much appreciated. Thank you very much, and well, hopefully we'll be able to join you for another webinar very soon.
Yes, I would love that. Thank you so much for having me, and I hope everybody has found it really useful. Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you very much. Bye.